Okay, it's an optional question. By taking an option, though, you can have better options in life, all right? So it's a difficult question. They want you to do the arithmetic in the problem without using a calculator. So the deal about this one over here, this is some arithmetic expression, and there will be a number over here. So what I would recommend you do is do what you know. And although it might seem unusual to you, I'm looking at the second term. I'm looking at this term over here, and I'd like to simplify that. All right, and how would I do that? Well, I'm hoping you realize it's something to do with the conjugate. So let me go through that with you. All right, so we have this over here. We have 1 over the root of 5 minus 2 root 6. And I'm going to multiply the bottom by a root, of course. And the conjugate of the radicand is going to be 5 plus 2, root 6. All right, let's go through that. On top, it's pretty easy, right? What do you get? You get the root of 5 plus 2 root 6. On the bottom, a little more challenging, all right? I'm going to multiply the radicands together, and they're conjugate, so it looks pretty easy to do. What are you going to get? You can get 25, and then you're going to get minus 4 times 6, which is 24. Well, that's easy. That's just simply the root of 1, and the root of 1 is just 1. So I get a very simple expression at the end of it. I get 5 plus 2 root 6. All right? Let me go to the next page. By the way, this is indicated to you over here. And next page, what I did was I just rewrote this. Well, first term's the same, and their second term like this. Now, this makes it a little bit easier for me. Now, certainly, I could understand getting stuck here. But the deal about this over here is it's probably going to work out pretty nicely. All right? So what I want to do is write something down for you that I would say would be a nice hint to have. And what I'm going to do is over here, I'm going to tell you that this over here is equal. Let me go through that with you. So root 3 plus root 2. Now someone says, why are you doing that? Let me explain why I would even think about doing that. The reason I would think about doing that is I'm seeing a lot of root 3s and 2s around, all right? I'm seeing them all over the place. Right, we'll get to that later. All right, so if I were to square that, and again, you may wonder why I'm looking for squares. The reason to look for squares is because I want to take the square root. And if you square this, what are you going to get? You're going to get 3 plus 2 plus 2 root 6, which turns out to be 5 plus 2 root 6. So this is an interesting thing because what are we really trying to do is, well, we're trying to do this over here. Whoops. And now I know what that is. All right, I'm going to write that down for you. So the square root of 5 plus 2 root 6 is identical to the square root of root 3 plus root 2 squared. So I can actually take the square root of this thing over here now. And we'll get back to that later. But now what I want to do is concentrate on something else. I'm going to erase this over here. We're going to concentrate on something else, all right? And let me tell you what we're concentrating on. We're concentrating on this really important fact over here. So we're concentrating on this over here. So what am I looking for? I'm looking at this guy over here and wondering if this thing is useful. And so what I'm going to do over here is just simply tell you that I think it may be useful. But to get it to be useful, I need to see those things. I need to see 5 plus 2 root 6. So, I'm going to, borrow from the 6. I'm going to write it as 1 plus 2 root 3 plus 2 root 2 plus, well, I definitely see the 2 root 6, but I got a 5 now, right? So 5 plus 2 root 6, all right? Let me just outline this for you. So this here and this here are identical, and that's an important thing. Now this over here is going to be something pretty simple. What is it going to be? Root 3 plus root 2 squared. Now I'm going to write this a little differently. I'm going to write this a little differently. I'm going to write this as 1 plus 2 root 3 plus root 2. Now I realize somebody said, why are you doing that? I think I recognize something now. And I'll tell you what I recognize. I recognize, the form a squared plus 2a plus 1. I'm seeing that form, by the way. And this gives me a plus 1 squared. So I'm seeing this thing as factorable now. I'm seeing it as being factorable. And let me just point that out. I'm seeing it as 1 plus 2a, where the a is root 3 plus root 2, plus a squared. So I can factor this guy now. This guy here can be factored. No, let me get this out. This guy can be factored. All right? And we're going to factor him now. And what's that going to factor out as? Let's put this down over here. It's going to factor out as 1 plus root 3 plus root 2 quantity squared. And that would give us this over here. And this is an important fact. All right? Let's show you where that's written. And that's written over here. So let's go through that. We got this written down. You know, my pen seems to be wearing out. Give me 1 second. Got this over here. Kind of split it, you know, as we did before. Noticing this over here, like we did before. I'm noticing this over here, like we did before. Factor it out, and I'm noticing this over here now. All right? So what are you going to do now? We're going to take this entire problem and rewrite it. So we're going to rewrite this, and we're going to rewrite this. Hope you just recall we just did this. The inside turned out to be this. We did this before. We got this over here. And I can just take the square roots of these things. And you get this, and you get this. What's nice about this? The roots 3 disappears, and the root of 2 disappears. What are you left off with? The number 1. All right, so we got this over here. All right, they also said verified using a calculator. I realize for some students using the product called Sage is too difficult. All right, they get very confused by it. All right, but anyway, this is the Sage code for it. And a Boolean is basically comparing, is that thing really the same thing as 1 as we think it is? And it is, all right? I want to talk about another product, though. And this product over here is Wolfram Alpha. Now, these links over here, you can click on this. This is clickable. You can click on it. And if you click on this thing over here, it's going to open up a website called Wolfram Alpha. And what are you going to do when you get to Wolfram Alpha? It's going to look like this. And there will be a search box. And what did I type into the search box? Well, I'm going to tell you what I typed into the search box. I typed in this whole problem over here. I typed in everything over there. And how do you do that? Well, I got to type square roots, things like that. It's really not that bad, but I did it. It's over here. And then what Wolfram Alpha does, it's something pretty nice, actually. What it does, it typesets the problem for me. And this is what I'm looking at in the notes, by the way. This is the same thing in the notes. And this is nice to have, by the way, because what are you doing? You're verifying what you typed in is the same thing you have in the notes. All right? Same thing. Same thing. And that's in the notes. We got that part. Same thing. No different. All right? What did they say the result is? 1, as we expected. All right? And that's important, by the way. Again, Wolfram Alpha, really great website, good for calculations. It's also good for asking about data. Like if you're interested in like the gross domestic product of, I don't know, anywhere, they'll be able to tell you that. It can tell you a lot of things too. So it's really almost like Google, but it's going to be answering like math type questions. So math questions over here. Thank you.